Hey, it's Lips here with day 3 of the Yshaarj event. The first task is to complete Captain Shivers using 3 pirates. So I did this 3 ways. The first one will shock a lot of people, which is just pirates itself. If you have Patches, Edwin, and Mr. Smite, you're actually in a really good position for this task, as these 3 will allow you to pretty much get to the boss and actually deal with the boss pretty easily. There is the worry that Mr. Smite might actually get one-shotted on the first turn, but that doesn't always happen, and when it doesn't, you're in a perfectly fine position because you do have Hook Tusk as a backup plan on the bench. Mainly, you're looking for treasures that will increase the HP and attack of all your mercenaries when you're actually using this comp. And for the main combo to get up to the boss, you are going to be using Patches I Matey on turn 1, with Mr. Smite using Avasi Matey for turn 1, and Edwin just using his first ability. Then on turn 2, you're going to use I Captain, and then you're also going to use Overboard and Edwin's first ability again. This is basically the strategy for both the boss and to get up to the boss when you're using pirates, and it actually does pretty well. For equipments, for Patches, we're using Arms Locker. Edwin, we're using Black Flag. Mr. Smite, we're using Sharpened Scabbard. Hook Tusk, we're using Jolly Roger. And then the last 2 don't really matter. Cookie, Appetizers, and Vanessa's just in here to increase the luck of getting some pirate-based treasures. The second way I completed this task is by using dragons. This actually works pretty well if you know how to actually play it. It isn't the easiest build to actually get up to the boss, but once you get to the boss, you should be able to one-shot them pretty quickly. And here's a warning that you need to know. Do not get the treasure that turns all your mercenaries into pirates if you are using dragons. If you do that, Sinestra's second ability will be completely shut offline, and you don't want something like that to actually happen. So let's get into the mercenary by mercenary breakdown. Sinestra, we're using Mana Brooch. Nefarian, we're using Chromatic Dragonflight. Onyxia, we're using Razor Sharp Claws, and then the other 3 don't really matter, they're just fill-in. The basic idea is Onyxia will be using her first ability to get rid of the taunt on Helen, and then you can just focus down the main boss with both Sinestra and Nefarian. And this goes for the way up to the boss. There are times where you're going to not want to attack with Onyxia at all, just so she doesn't take 10 increased damage from all Nagas after she actually attacks, since she is kind of a squishy body. Now, for the final way that I actually completed this task, instead of fire, I used frost. Frost, I did this 2 ways. The first one being with Lokalar, but he always got one-shotted on the boss, so I ended up swapping him out for Varden instead. But if you want to play your luck and you can actually get the critical damage on Lokalar, it's actually probably better, and you're going to probably be using his Frigid Winds equipment if you do that. But for this build, we are using Belinda with Luster Water Elemental, Jaina with Ice Block Talisman, and Varden with Ban of Frost. They're mainly using Band of Frost as a way to actually scale up your frost damage using the Lesser Water Elemental from Belinda. And to get up to the boss fight, don't be afraid to actually use Varden's second ability when you can actually AoE freeze everything, because that will just allow you to nuke the entire board with your other 2 mercenaries. Now with that all being said, let's look how I did this with pirates, then dragons, then frost. Alright, so we're going to be putting down Patches, Edwin, and Smite. Going to hard focus down the boss while also putting a taunt on Mr. Smite. The nice thing about actually using pirates in this case is your pirates get speed up by both the main boss and by the Edwin's equipment. They're sadly going to be able to kill Mr. Smite here, but that's perfectly fine. We're just going to hard target the caster, I'm pretty sure here, or hard target the boss. Swap the role of both our Hook Tusk and the captain, and then one-shot him here, or get pretty close to one-shotting him here. Now all we have to deal with is Helen. Then we're probably going to use the second ability on Hook Tusk, and voila, we have the task completed. Okay, now time to do this with dragons. We're going to use Sinestra, Nefarian, and Onyxia here. We're just going to hard target the boss down. They actually didn't put up the taunt. If they put up the taunt, then we would have actually just hit the Helen with Onyxia like we're doing right here. We're going to heal up Sinestra a little bit, and then we're going to probably use Shadow Flame to do a bunch of damage also. Probably should have actually healed up Onyxia instead, but oh well. You live and you learn. Then we're just going to put down Smite because I don't want to rely on any of the other mercenaries that we're actually putting in. We're going to heal up Nefarian a little bit, and then we're probably just going to put up a taunt on Smite. Then we can put down Edwin, and then we should just win here. And now for Frost. The amount of good treasures that you can actually get along the way for Frost is kind of low, so as long as you get some additional Frost damage, you should be perfectly fine. Even if you don't, you should be fine. Here we actually have all of our mercenaries turned into pirates, which is perfectly fine. It actually speeds us up a little bit, but you don't actually need that to actually win this fight using Frost. Just going to keep hard focusing down the boss. And we're going to try to save our elemental here. It probably won't actually survive this turn, but you never know. And then it's just rinse and repeat from here. You can also start putting water elementals up just to protect one of your minions if you really feel like it. But you should be able to just one-shot and freeze the entire board with Varden, depending on how quick it is. Or how quick they are. Alright, I hope this video was helpful for you, and if it was, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and until the next task, bye bye.